Hey guys, so today we're gonna be talking about something that happened recently. So basically, if you haven't watched the news lately, or at least gotten a look at your Twitter feed, then you would know that a certain flightless bird has recently passed away. Yes, I am talking about Grapekun. And for those of you who don't know who Grapekun is or what the heck is going on, then let me explain. But first I have to explain a certain anime in order for you guys to understand the whole concept. So, anyways, it all started with a certain show called Camo no Friends, which is basically a type of show that is kind of a crossbreed between Zabumafu and Adventure Time. Zabumafu in the sense that it's a show that features animals and in a way gives a little bit of education on animals, which is always a good thing. And more like Adventure Time, because even though it is mostly geared towards kids, little kids, it's there's definitely some kind of post-apocalyptic storyline going on underneath. And yeah, it actually makes the show pretty watchable, despite the fact that the production value isn't actually that well. Anyways, so in as a promotional for both the show and wildlife parks and zoos all over Japan, they started putting cardboard cutouts of the characters in their respective animal enclosures in various zoos around Japan. One specific zoo, however, caught the attention of a lot of people. In the Topu Zoo in the Saitama Prefecture, there was a certain enclosure where they had a group of Humboldt penguins. And one of those penguins, whose name is Grapekun, happens to have gotten really attached to the cardboard cutout. So much so that it's very eerily similar to, say, the reaction that a common otaku would have. Yeah, it's actually pretty crazy. But anyways, one of the things that it definitely caught the eye of a bunch of people, and one of the things that they actually started, they actually started to pay notice and started calling him the first otaku penguin. So much so that that they started to get a little worried, to the point where he wasn't eating, and they actually had to separate him off for a while. He was eventually released, of course, as soon as he started a regular feeding schedule again. However, they were about to capitalize this, and in fact their zoo was getting a lot more visitors than it did before, just to see the penguin. However, unfortunately, a month before the official Grape-kun festival that was supposed to happen, he died. Just like that. Now, they haven't figured out exactly what was the cause of death, although, if you ask me, I think we can all chalk it up to old age. I mean, Grape-kun was 21. That's like 80 years compared in penguin years. That's pretty old. However, one of the things now, a lot of people have actually started paying attention to this, to the point where they even started making memes of the little guy. See? I mean, when you put Last Samurai into a meme, you know this is something huge. So anyways, what am I doing here today? Well, I want to explain, how the heck did we get here? How did a penguin start getting attached to a cardboard cutout? And just basically talk about the legacy that Grapekun left behind. Now, first, before we start talking about, Grapekun and his special situation, we first have to talk about what kind of penguin he is. Now, I actually did do some research. Yeah, that's basically what I do, folks. That's basically what I do. Anytime that something happens, I do research on something. Whether if Sandy Hook happened, I do research. Trump won the election, I do research. Something going on in Charlottesville, I do research. So anyways, I actually did manage to do some research, specifically on Humboldt penguins. And surprisingly, Grapekun is pretty much amongst one of many. In terms of showing some form of higher intelligence. Now, what I mean by that is that Humboldt penguins are actually pretty much well known for being pretty smart. And how smart? Well, you know the penguins from Madagascar? One penguin, known as known as 337, was actually managed to escape the Tokyo Sea Life Park, or the Kaisai Rinkai Shuzokuen, I hope I pronounced that right, and actually managed to make it not only outside of his enclosure, but he actually made it all the way to the Tokyo Bay, and actually managed to thrive there for 82 days, which is pretty impressive. Anyhow, that's just a demonstration of their intelligence, but also, and this is a pretty curious thing, they're pretty much prone to, they're pretty smart actually. That's just pretty much what I'll say. Anyways, two, in terms of socialization, Humboldt penguins are pretty social in terms of, let's just say they know how to identify each other pretty well. Due to their eyesight and their ability to hear, they actually know how to recognize each penguin from the others. For example, you know how we tend to look for larger characteristics? In fact, the reason why Grapekun, I think, was called Grapekun is because he had a purple wristband, or more like a wingband, I guess, and that's how they identified him as Grapekun. However, penguins, they don't necessarily need that. They can identify who's who simply by the patterns of their pigments. They can actually memorize those things. Not only that, but they can also recognize certain tones from other penguins. Kind of the way that you can kind of figure out who I am based on my on the way I'm speaking right now. Not only that, but they also have good corp shit and coordination. Not only that, but they tend to be pretty peaceful, which is why they do pretty well with social behaviors. They do very well in captivity. So, the reason why maybe they're not going insane is because, they actually do pretty well in close quarters and that kind of stuff. So they tend to be pretty social. Not only that, but they also tend to be pretty stable in terms of relationships, and or at least in terms of maintaining their populations. How well, you say? Well, typically when there's this one example, and let me just look for it right here, in the Wingham Wildlife Park, where there was also a bunch of penguins that actually got about the similar media attention as Grapekun, Jubbs, and Kermit, two penguins who actually became the center of attention as two males who have pair bonded a number of years and have successfully hatched and reared an egg given to them by surrogate parents. Basically, an egg, I think, was abandoned or taken and given to them, and basically they did pretty well as surrogate parents. And they actually took care of the egg as if it were their own, as if they were a heterosexual pair. That would mean either one of two things. One, it means that homosexuality actually exists among penguins, Humboldt penguins to be specific. Or two, and I'm going on the conservative side, they must be fans of 2.5 Men. Honestly, I'm willing to believe either one. Or maybe it's a combination of both. Anyways, so that pretty much explains the penguins, but what does that mean for Grapekun? Well, here's the thing. Now, according to the BBC article that I was reading, apparently Grapekun was actually used to have a mate that was with him for 10 years. I think her name was Midori. And let's just say, as the article explained, he is thought to have become fixated on the cutout after being jilted by a female penguin called Midori. Now, for those of you who don't know what jilted is, I'm about to go onto dictionary.com to figure that out. Nah, hashtag not sponsored. I don't know if I have to say that, but yeah, that's just something I think I need to explain. To reject or cast aside a lover or sweetheart, especially after abruptly or unfeelingly. So yeah, he was essentially pushed out of the way, and I can tell you, after figuring out this, I just, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. And now that I think about it, yeah, he's definitely in that, he's definitely in the otaku category. Not only that, but also if you consider put into the factor of his old age, it's kind of an interesting story. The idea that after years of devotion to a single mate, and again, I should probably reiterate this, Humboldt penguins tend to be monogamous in the sense that they only get, no, not monogamous. Yeah, monogamous. They usually only stick with one mate. So to be rejected by one, that's a pretty heavy blow. And animals do have a sense of love. For God's sakes, elephants die of heartbreaks. So, yeah. So in other words, if you think about it, the cardboard cutout kind of served as a bit of a replacement, if you know what I'm talking about. And, talking from my own experience, where I too have had a girlfriend, and I too have been dumped, and yes, I too have used anime as a type of escapism. For God's sakes, you see those T-shirts right over there? They're not there just for background decoration. That was sort of my cry for help right there. But yeah, not only that, but if you put into consideration how the cardboard cutout does kind of look a lot like a penguin, but also if you put into consideration the fact that there were enough characteristics to basically mistake it as a penguin, to the other penguins it's probably like just one weird, that one weird character, whereas for Grapekun is that like, maybe this is my chance to be approachable. Maybe this is my chance to actually, fill that hole that's in my heart, and maybe that's why he got so attached to the cardboard cutout. It was two weirdos hanging out, or something like that, and that's how we got to this situation. That's how we got Grapekun. I don't know if what I just told you made sense, but I'll leave links to the articles that I pulled up, and I'll just let you decide to see what happens. I just thought I wanted to share a little bit of information that I found on Humboldt penguins, and that's it. And any final messages I have is, you got Grapekun? I hope that God pays attention to you, and because you did give a lot of joy to our hearts here on planet Earth, and to the Chilean penguin, you are inspiration as to us all. And who knows, maybe in a couple years, penguins will become the dominant race, because seeing as how they are right now, I think that Humboldt penguins are going to be the ones that take over the Earth, especially considering how we're kind of screwing it up for ourselves. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Grapekun, R.I.P. buddy. See ya, man. I'll see you in heaven. Hopefully your waifu is real over there. Jesus bless this little bird for being such an amazing little guy. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully the next video will be a little bit more lighthearted, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So just leave in the comment section anything you want me to talk about next. And until then, this is me saying thank you for being smart.